Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Yevamos Kuf Daled. We are holding at the Mishnah, which is 7 lines from the top of the Yomid. Cholza Balayla, suppose the Yevama did Chalitza at night. Chalitza Sakshera, it works. Rabbi Elazar Paisel, he says it doesn't work. Chalitza is not meant to be performed at night. Explanation, we'll see in the Gemara. What about Bismoil? So she removed his left shoe from his left foot. Chalitza psula, it doesn't work. It's meant to be the right foot. Rabbi Elazar Machshir. Here, Rabbi Elazar switches it around. He says, no, it's actually kosher. There's a gersa that actually has Rabbi Eliezer, so it's a different Tana than before. So again, nighttime, Tanakama says okay, Rabbi Elazar says no good. Left foot, Tanakama says no good, Rabbi Elazar says okay. So what's the question regarding nighttime? Lema b'ha kamiflagi, perhaps the machlekes revolves around the following discussion. You see, the Gemara in Sanhedrin, and Taisus actually right over here brings it. When do we judge dinei mamonus, financial issues? So according to Rabbi Meir, we have a pasuk that connects dinim to negoim, to the kohen taking a look at a nega and determining its value, just as by a nega. It needs to be done during daytime, as the pasuk says. Ubayom herois boy. Likewise, rivim means litigations, need to be tended to by day. That's Rabbi Meir's approach. In which case, the entire court case, the entire din Torah, whether the tchilas din, the initiation of proceedings, or the gemar din, the conclusion, the culmination, the verdict, both aspects, only during daytime. So is that the point of our Mishnah? Lema b'ha kamiflagi, shall we say it revolves around this question? Demar savar mak shinan rivim l'negoim. Rabbi Elazar says you cannot do chalitza at night. That's because we connect litigations to the halacha of nega. And chalitza, as Rashi explains, is related to din because when she does chalitza, she gets the right to collect her ksuba money. So that's why the chalitza has to be done by yom. That's Rabbi Elazar's approach. Umar savar lo makshinon rivim l'negoim, whereas Tanakama says, we don't make this hekesh. In which case, it can be done at night. Loi, incorrect. According to all shittas here, we don't associate rivim, litigations, to nega. Because otherwise, the makshin, had we connected the two, afilu gemar din, b'layla nami loy. Even the verdict, the psak of that din Torah could not take place at night. And we have a Mishnah in Sanhedrin that allows it. So apparently our Shita, Tanakama, Rabbi Elazar, the Chachamim, do not hold the Rabbi Meir that we're meant to connect Riv to Nega. The fact is we allow the Gemar din at night. So let's shift away from that possible hekesh. Rather, it's based on another set of psukim. The Gemara doesn't actually mention it here, but Taisus alludes to it, and the Gemara Sanhedrin elaborates on it. We have a pasuk which says "V'shaftos ha'am b'choles" by Moshe Rabbeinu. Mishpah takes place anytime. Then we have another pasuk by Yerusha. V'yoyim hanchilu ezbanav, and Yerusha is tantamount to din by day. So which one is it? Daytime or nighttime? V'yoyim or b'choles? Answer is tchilas din. You have to initiate the din by yoyim. But gemar din, the conclusion, the verdict, the culmination, that can take place at night as well. So Tanakama and Rabbi Elazar both will follow that approach. Tchilas adin bayom, gemar din afilu balayla. So what's the machlokes regarding chalitza? And the point here revolves around the following question. Mar sava chalitza kid chilas din damya. Tanna Kama maintains, chalitza is just the initiation of proceedings. It's like chilas din, which needs bayayim. Sorry, Rabbi Lezer. Let's backtrack. Rabbi Lezer says chalitza needs bayayim, and therefore he says chalitza balayla is possible because chalitza is chilas din. It starts the process, which eventually culminates in her collecting her ksuba payments. Therefore, chalitza needs to be v'yim. Mar savat chalitza ketchilas din damya. Or Mar savat Tanna Kama, who allows chalitza balayla, because he holds chalitza ke gemar din damya. It's compared to a gemar din. Why is it gemar din? So the Mefarshim explain. As soon as she does chalitza, she's already empowered to collect that money. It's like it's hers. She has the ksuba right here. It's hers. No further litigation required. No further action necessary. So we treat the chalitza as though it's the gemar din. It's the end of the proceed, and therefore it can happen even at night. Rabbi Bar Chia Katusfa, that was his name, Avad Uvda, he performed a chalitza with three sort of deviations. B'moik, he used a felt shoe. Ubi he was just one alone with that any other dayanim present. Ubalayla, Amar Shmuel, he wasn't happy. Kamarav Guvre Da'avad Kichida. Look, how strong he is. Look at this. He did something really phenomenal. He followed a das yachid. This is not the opinion of the consensus. He took on the view of a yachid. Now, what exactly was Shmuel perturbed about? Which aspect of the story? The felt part, the Laila part, or the Yechidi part? My kasha, Mike, the felt aspect? Well, what do you mean? Stamatanya. We had a brisa yesterday. You can use that type of shoe. It's a stam brisa. It seems like it's the prevalent shita. Laila. Was it the Laila aspect? Well, again, stamatanya. We have a Mishnah. Tanna Kama allows Laila, it's stam Mishnah. But how do you do it one alone? It's an individual's opinion. The consensus is you need three. This non-chotza b'shnayim. We did chalitza with two people, or it was actually three, but it ended up being two. One of the three turned out to be a relative or disqualified. You only have two. Chalitza sapsul, it doesn't work. For Reb Shimon, Rabbi Yochanan Sandler, Machshirim, they allow it, even with two. So it's a das yachid. In fact, there's a story behind the halacha. This fellow was with the Ivama in prison, just him and her, and they did chalitza. And the story was presented to Rabbi Kiva, who was actually in jail. He said it was okay. And Tosfos later on brings the story this is not Kafhema Beis in the bottom Tosfos. He brings the whole story based on the Rishalmi's account of events. Rabbi Kiva was locked up in prison. The Romans imprisoned him, and Rabbi Yochanan Hasandler wanted to ask this shaila. They had the shaila about the chalitza that was done in private. They wanted to present it to the big Chacham, Rabbi Akiva, and he was in prison. So Rabbi Yochanan Hasandler, you know what he did? He took some sewing needles, some sewing equipment, and presented as a peddler, and walked by the prison in which Rabbi Akiva was imprisoned. And he calls out, anybody for some needles, anybody for some tools. What about a chalitza in private? He just threw it in. And Rabbi Akiva peered out of the prison, peered out of the window, and he responded, well, you have some cushion, some sewing equipment. What about kosher? And he got the hint. So that's a story that the Mishnah is describing. A story that involved a private chalitza presented to Rabbi Akiva, who was machshir. V'amar Rav Yosef bar Menyumi Amar Rav Nachman, ein halacha goysa zug, halacha l'maisa, we don't follow this pair of chachamim. We don't allow a chalitza unless it's done with at least 3 dayanim present. So the fact that Rabbi Bar Chia Katusva performed a chalitza in private, that got Shmuel a little irked. He says, this is not the halacha l'maisa. Biba Yisem, another approach regarding Shmuel's opposition, he didn't like all 3 aspects. Kulu nami yichida kitanilu. All 3 things, the felt aspect, the laila aspect as well. It's all das yachad, not the accepted halacha. The sani. Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi. Ani Reisi. Es Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha. I personally noticed Rabbi Shmuel ben Elisha, who was chayletz in the following manner: shechalatz b'moik, using the felt shu, b'yechidi alone, u'b'layla. It's a das yachad. So according to this, the halacha b'layla in our Mishnah is also a das yachad, and the accepted halacha is to do it b'yayim. And likewise, b'moik is not the preferred type of chalitza. The second halacha in the Mishnah is bismoil, pulling off that shoe from his left foot. Bismoil chalitzasa psula. According to Rebbe Lezer, it's okay. My time of the Rabbanan, that it's not okay. Why do you need right foot only? Amarav amula. Yalfinan regel mitzora. We have gzeira shava, just like the word regel by mitzora, where they place the dam, etc. It's the right foot. It says raglei hayamonis. Likewise, the word regel, v'cholza na'alim al ragloi, is the right foot only. Mal halan dimin, just as over there by mitzora, it is right foot. Afkan dimin, here as well, it must be the right foot. Now, Rabbi Lezer disagrees. He says you can use the left foot as well. Does he not hold to this gzeira shava, really? Rabbi Lezer lo yolav regel mitzora v'tanya. Listen to this brisa. Rabbi Lezer himself subscribes to this gzeira shava. Rabbi Lezer oimer menayin l'ritzia shiba iznan yimonis. How do you know that when the bezdin bores through the earlobe of the eved nirtza, it's the right ear? Nemar kan oizen. We have the word oizen in our mitzvah. V'nemar lahalan oizen by the mitzora. We discuss his right ear as well. Ma lahalan yimin afkan yimin. Just as over there, it's right ear here as well. Clearly, Rabbi Lezer as well adopted this gzeira shava, this connection to mitzora. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Yosef and Rabbi Yochanan. You're right. We're stuck. Muchlefas ashita. Apparently, we have to switch around the names. Rabbi Lezer holds it has to be the right. The Tanakama allows the left. Rav Amar no, let's keep the names as is. There's a difference between right ear and right foot. Why? Oizen mufni. The gzeira shava utilizing the words oizen is really available on both sides. It's an extra word oizen over here and over there. Rashi explains that by mitzora. Why does the Torah have to mention again the oizen by the mitzora only after having already mentioned it by the mitzora usher? So oizen there is extra. Likewise by the eved who's going to get his earlobe bored. Why mention it again in Chumash Devarim after having already mentioned it in Pashas Mishpatim? These are extra words that allows us to connect the 2 things without any opposition. However, regel, loy bufni. The gzeira shava using the words regel over here and by mitzora is not readily available. It's not extra words. Only by mitzora is it extra, because the Torah repeats by the oni, which it had already mentioned by the usher. Over there it's extra, but over here by the chalitza, nothing extra. Regel is the plain description of events. And halacha is, at least according to Rebbe Lezer, gzeira shava, which is mufna mishnei tzadim, it's available on both sides, totally extra on all sides, and you can't challenge, you can't oppose that gzeira shava. But if it's only available on one side, you can make the gzeira shava if you have no issues, but you can actually challenge it if you find a way to do so. How can you challenge the gzeira shava in this case? V'chiloi mufni, my pircha ika, what type of opposition could you present to make this connection between chalitza and mitzora an unequal connection? Ikil mifrach, there's a way to challenge as follows. Mala mitzora, you can't compare to the mitzora, which has many components of stringencies and strictness unfound by the chalitza. Malam Mitzur Shaken Ton, it's Erez. You need to have that block of wood that he brings along, the Ezam and the grass, Shnitelas and the red thread, all these types of additions, which are part of the Mitzura procedure, which don't find by the Chalitza, and therefore you can't necessarily compare one to the other. So the bottom line is, Chalitza Balayla Machlokes. What is it based on? Well, is Chalitza called Chilas Din, which allows even Balayla, which has to be done by Yom, or is it Seif Din, Gemar Din, which can even be Balayla? What about B'Smoil? Tanakama says, Pasul, we learn from Mitzura. Rav Lezer says, look, we can differentiate between here and Mitzura because it's not Gzeira Shava Mufnim and Mishneh Tzad. Now the Yevama will do three things as part of the Chalitza procedure. The actual Chalitza, removal of his shoe, Rikika spitting in front of him, and reading those psukim as dictated to her by the Bezdin. Which one of these things are critical? Which things are me'akiv and which things are not me'akiv? Chalza, she did the chalitza, pulling off his shoe, v'rakaka, and released that spit. Avaloi kara, but did not actually read the psukim. It works. Chalitza kshira. Why? Rashi says, the pasuk says, "Kacha ye'asa la'ish, asher lo yivnez beis achiv." Kacha is a lashon of me'akav. It's absolute. This is the way it's meant to be. Kacha ye'asa la'ish. Only something which is a ma'as, an act, an action. But words, that's not considered a ma'as, and therefore, that type of dibur is not me'akav. So if she removes the shoe, does rikika, and nothing else, it's okay. Karav rakika. What if she read the psukim, spit, avaloi chotza. She read, she spat, but no pulling off of shoe. Chalatzos psula doesn't work. Chotza v'kara. She pulled off the shoe and read the psukim avaloi rakika without spitting. This is a bit tricky because it's a masa that she's missing, but it's not a masa done with him. Does it hold back the chalitza or not? Rabbi Lezer Omer chalitza psula doesn't work because it's a masa that is missing. Rabbi Kiva Omer chalitza kshera, it works even without it. Omer Rabbi Lezer, what do you mean? Kacha ya'asa. We learn from here. Kol davar shu masa ma'akiv, something which is a masa holds back the chalitza. Rakika is a masa. Omer Rabbi Kiva misham raya. That's not a raya. Kacha ya'asa leish. Misham raya. Kacha ya'asa leish. We learn kol davar shu masa beish. Something which pertains to the man, a masa which involves the yavam is me'akiv, such as removing his shoe from his foot. But rikika, although it's a masa, but not involving the man, it's not me'akiv. So bottom line is, removal of shoe, ma'akiv. Reading of psukim, not ma'akiv. Rikika, Rabbi Lezer says ma'akiv, Rabbi Kiva says not. Hachiresh shenechlatz. This yavam is deaf-mute, and he was involved in chalitza. He allowed the yavama to pull off his shoe. V'achareshes shecholza. Well, the yavama was a chereshes. V'achaletzas lekata. Or if she did chalitza to a kata, in all these cases, it doesn't work. Chalitzas psula, you can't do a chalitza with a kata. You need to have a das. We'll see in a minute. Ketana shecholza. What if the ketana did chalitza? Then wait around, do it again. Tachleitz mishatagdil. She'll do it again when she grows up. Yimloi choltzav. She didn't do it when she grew up. Chalitzas psula, because as we said, a cotton, a ketana cannot do chalitza. Choltza b'shnayim. This is the excerpt of the Mishnah which we already had in Amar Aleph. You need to have 3 people. What if they did it with 2? Choltza b'shnayim. Oy b'shleisha, or 3, but it turned out that one was not part of it. V'nimtza echad mem korav pasal. One of the 3 dayanim was a relative to one of the parties involved, or disqualified for some other reason. Chalitzas psula, it's invalid. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yechina Sandal, machshirim. They say it's okay. In fact, they have a story to back it up. A masav echad shechalatz beinoi lebeina. This fellow did his chalitza with his yivama on their own. Uba masav Rabbi Kiva v'hichsha, and they presented Rabbi Kiva, who confirmed it as okay. Amarav hasha the amras krila me'akva. Now that you've told me that actually reading the psukim, that doesn't hold back the chalitza, it's not critical. If so, lefichach, ilim v'ilemes. Say he is mute, not deaf mute, just mute. He has das, but he just can't speak. V'ilemes. Likewise, if she is mute, Shecholzu, who did chalitza, chalitza and kshera, it works. Because kriya is not miyake. Tanan, what about our Mishnah? Apparently, not being able to speak is critical. My time alav mishum de loibnei kriya ninu. The Gemara is assuming what's lacking, what's missing, because they cannot express themselves, they can't communicate. No lie, mishum de lav bnei deya ninu, because they're not bardas. You see, the Gemara in the Havamina figured that cheresh and cheretz is true. They don't have properly developed neurological systems. It's not just a mechanical failure. A deaf mute is considered like a shoita, like a cotton, with a person without full faculties, right? But as the Mefarshim, the Rishonim point this out, the Gemara figured, if you have a gadol standing there, you have bezdin standing there, instruct them, telling them to do it b'kavana, do it l'shem mitzvah, that would be sufficient. That sort of acts as a substitute to their lack of das. Oh, so what can be wrong? Apparently, because they personally have to speak. That was the Gemara's thinking. Lav b'nei kriya ninu. Okay, so an ilaim v'lemes, a fellow is just simply mute, he also can't do it. And the Gemara responds, no, loy. Mishum de lav b'nei yedei ninu. We're not speaking that there are others standing them, instructing them. They're doing it, and they don't have the proper das. Asks the Gemara, if that's the case, ilaim v'lemes nami. Fellow is mute. Ivamo is mute. The Gemara figures they can't express, they can't communicate, they are neurologically deficient. No different than a cherish. And says the Gemara, no. You can't compare the two things. He's perfectly sane, he's perfectly neurologically whole and complete. They're full das. It's just an expression, their mouth are hurting, meaning they don't have the mechanical ability, the facilities to express themselves, but inside, neurologically, they're fully developed. Unlike the cheresh v'cheresh, deaf mute, which are considered lacking das in the entire Torah, like a shoita, like a cotton. Asks the Gemara, v'amrid v'Rabbi Yanai, lefi she'enei ba'ama v'amra. In the Beis Medrash of Rabbi Yanai, they explained what is the reason why a cheresh, why a chereshes, could not be involved in a chalitza, lefi she'enei ba'ama v'amra. Pasuk says he has to speak, she has to speak. They can't do that. Which sounds like that in itself is enough reason to disqualify them. Not because they're lacking das. And if that's the case, an ilaim and ilemes as well. They can't speak, they can't be involved. Elai itma de Rava asefe itma. Oh, so let's revise Rava. He was going on the second part of the Mishnah. Cheresh nechlatz. V'cheresh shechotz. V'chaletzes min hakaton. Chalitzos psul. So we learned that a cheresh can't be involved. Reason, as we just said, because if you can't speak, you can't be fully engaged in the process. You can't perform chalitza. On this, Rava says, Amar Rava, let's extend it further. Hasha da amras kriya ma'akva. Now that you've just taught me this new concept, that if one can't speak, it can't be involved. Likewise, a fellow is merely mute, not deaf mute, just mute, or she's mute, it can't be involved. Now the question is, why not? Okay, that's a fact. You need to be a potential va'amar, a potential va'amra. So whether you're just deaf mute or just mute alone, you can't participate. But why not? This seems to be inconsistent with the first part of the Mishnah. Mishnah says, Kriya is not me'akiv. So who cares if you can't speak? Oh, that's the answer. If you can't, it's worse than just not speaking. If you don't have the ability to express yourself, then you as an individual are not qualified for chalitza. If you can't speak and you choose not to, okay, you're yaitse. But if you can't speak, you are not the individual who the Torah had in mind. Umas nissen. How then do we explain this halacha in the Mishnah? On the one hand, we say, well, if you leave the psukim out, you're okay. Then we say, well, if you can't speak, you're pasul. Don't need to speak, then why do you have to speak? What do you have to be able to speak? We'll explain it like Reb Zera. Don't Reb Zera. This is by the halacha of mincha. Mishnah says that you're meant to mix flour and oil. But if you don't mix it, you leave each component, separate and intact, you're yaitse the mitzvah. It's still considered a kosher mincha. However, the Mishnah says, don't pile up too much flour, up to a certain amount, 60 isarin. Okay, that could still be mixed properly with the lug, with the the measurement, the measure of oil. But past that amount of flour, it's too much to be mixed. It won't mix properly. The question is, who cares? Fine, let's say you don't mix your mincha. Are you yaitse? Yeah. So why can't you bring 100 measures of flour and just don't mix it? On this, Reb Zera says there's a big difference. And it has to have potential to be presented properly. You choose not to mix it, it's your prerogative. But in terms of the format of the mincha, it has to have the potential to conform and to abide and to follow procedure. If the proportions in your mincha are capable of being mixed together properly, then ein bila ma'akevas, by mixing is not mi'akev. V'chol she'ein roy bila, but if it's not able to be mixed, just too much flour, it doesn't have a potential bila, then we say bila ma'akevas by the fact that the Torah mentions bila with respect to a mincha. That indicates that the mincha has to have potential for this procedure, for the bila to happen. Here as well, you choose not to say the psukim, okay. But if the yavam cannot speak, he cannot be included. The Bnei Yeshiva sent a message, a halacha, to the father of Shmuel, as follows: Yivama shirakaka. The Yivama walks into Bezdin. Before anything happens, rakaka, she spits. Typically, first you remove the shoe and then you spit. No, she did rakika. It has an effect. Tachlitz. Going forward, she cannot do yivam. We treat it as though the chalitza process has already been initiated. Mechlal, the ifsala me'achen, she becomes pasul from the brother. She can't do yivam. Mani, who's this shita? Who are we following? Ilim Rabbi Akiva. Is it shitas Rabbi Akiva? Let's go back to the Mishnah. We said shoe removal, according to all shitas, is critical. Reciting the parsha of the psukim, not critical at all. Spitting, Rabbi Lezer says critical, Rabbi Akiva says not. Okay? Getting back to our halacha. She did rakika, we say, oh, the process has begun. No backtracking. Whose shita are we following? Mani, Ilim Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva in the Mishnah, who says that rakika is never critical. Rakika is not a crucial part of the chalitza process, right? Ilim Rabbi Akiva, hashta, look, umma b'makim mitzvah. Even when they're actually engaged in the mitzvah, they're removing the shoe, it's right then and there. Still, Rabbi Akiva says, don't worry if you leave out the rakika. Even though there's very much reason to think that you're right there on the scene, you should insist on having it done. Otherwise, it's possible. But there's room to say, you can compare it to the carbon. Interesting connection. Mida dahava emurim. You see, a carbon has the emurim, the fats that are brought in the mizbeach. Halacha there is, dichilasnu, let's say the emurim are gone. They disappeared. Loi ma'akvi, it doesn't hold back the kashrus of the carbon. You can bizaruk the dam, and okay, you lost the emurim, okay, farfalim. It's not gonna hold back the carbon. But still, v'chi isnu, let's say they're right here. You have to bring them on the mizbech ma'akvi. It holds back. You can't sit down to have the basar of the carbon. You have it. You have to be makriv it. So in similar fashion, you're standing in Bezdin. You have the shoe. You have the yavam. You have the yavam. Everybody is fine. You're in the process of the mitzvah. Amar b'kiva le'ma'akva. Rakika is not ma'akav. You meant to do it, but if you skip it, you're okay. Even though you're right here, you're in the mitzvah, you're in the process. You're able to do it. It's not miyakav. Mayachan ifsala. What does that tell you about the value of rakika? Evidently, it's not a critical, not a crucial component of the chalitza process. So in our case, when the Yavama gets up in front of Dayana and she gives a rakika, a big spit, we shouldn't consider it too significant of an event. We should not consider the process as having been initiated to the extent that she can't go and do Yibam. It's just rakika. Rakika is not a crucial element in the chatzitza process. So this halacha wouldn't really work with Rabbi Akiva. It's not consistent with his thinking. Oh, apparently this halacha will follow Rabbi Elazar's approach that rakika is me'akiv. It is critical, it is crucial. And being this critical element in the chalitza procedure, therefore if you have done that rakika, we consider the process to have been started and there's no way of going back. You can't do yibam anymore. You have to finish the chalitza. Okay, that makes sense, but we have a kasha. You see, according to Blazer, there are two critical components of the chalitza: removal of shoe and rakika. We know when we have two components of a formal process that are both needed to produce heter, in this case the heter of the Ivama marrying a stranger, each one alone, each part alone can't really work independent of the other. You need both together, combined, to be mater. So how could the rakika alone wreak havoc? Why do you reckon with it? Elika Rebbe. Oh, we find that Shittas Rebbe is a bit different. He holds that when you have two matirim, one alone can set the process in motion. And therefore, in our case, merely having done the rakika alone would set the ball rolling. The Sanya. We find the halacha again by Karbanis. Kivsi Atzeres. You have the two kvasim on Shavuos, the two shlamims, which are mekadesh. They affect kedusha on the shtei halechem. How do they do it? Ein mekadsh on lechem el b'shchita. So you do shchita on the shlamim, the lechem becomes kaddish. Ketzad, how does this work? Shachtan l'shmon. You did the shchita properly. The shem, the carbon. V'zarak darm on the shmon. You applied the dam of the carbon on the mizbech. L'shem the carbon. You've done everything perfectly. Kiddush alechem, the lechem becomes kaddish. What about shachtat shalai l'shmon? You did the shchita and had something else in mind. V'zarak l'shmon. Even though you did the zrika l'shmon, it doesn't help because you started on the left foot. Like kiddush alechem, lechem does not become kaddish. Shachtan l'shmon. Oh, let's say you did the shchita properly, and then you strayed. V'zarak dam shalai l'shmon. So you have the shchita, which is one mater, one element of a mater, and you have the zrika, which is another aspect of the mater. And now you only had a successful shchita. You have one mater without the other. Is the lechem affected or not? Kaddish ve'ene kaddish divid Rebbe. Rebbe says yes. It is somewhat kaddish. It has become upgraded, becomes susceptible for psul yaitz. If you take it out of the mikdash, it becomes pasul. So it attains that level of kedusha. It's affected by the shchita, which was done properly. Ve'ene kaddish, but doesn't have the proper kedusha, and it's not enabled la'achila. Whereas Reb Shimon Aimer, lo'elam ve'ene kaddish, there's no kedusha at all until you do it properly. Ad she'yishchet l'shmon, v'yizrak dam l'shmon, until both shchita and zrika, the two material, are done properly. In any case, Rebbe holds, when you have two aspects of heter, two components of the heter procedure, one was done properly, that's enough to affect heter, to have some effect on the process. Here as well by the chalitza. We're going with Rabbi Lezer. There are two critical components in the Maaseh chalitza. One is shoe removal, second is spitting, and therefore, in accordance with Shittas Rebbe, even doing one alone has already set the process in motion, and once she did that, she can't go back and have yibum. So according to this approach in the Gemara, this halacha is ma'atar. You have set the process in motion. It's Rabbi Lezer based on Shittas Rebbe. But apparently, according to the other Shittas Rabbi Akiva, who doesn't really give so much credence to the whole concept of spitting, it's a l'chatchila, it's not miyakov, it's not a critical component in the chalitza process altogether. And therefore, just spitting alone doesn't really wreak much havoc. Doesn't have much of effect. Is that so? Umi amar Rabbi Akiva, Rakika like pasla. Is that true that according to Rabbi Akiva, simply doing rakika doesn't have any effect? Tanya, we have a brisa which says otherwise. Cholza v'loy rakaka, v'loy kara. Chalitza sakshira. Okay, that's relatively simple. And she does chalitza, just removes shoe without anything else. It works because, as Rekiva said in the Mishnah, the masa, which involves the man, that is miyakiv. Even in absence of the Rakika and the Kriya. Fine. Continues the brisa. Rakaka v'loy cholza. She did Rakika without chalitza. V'loy kara without Kriya. Chalitza is a psula, and psula means she can't marry the brothers. As Rashi says. It makes her pass on the other brothers. And the brisa continues with the third case. Kara. All she did was read the psukim. That isn't much. V'loy rakaka v'loy cholza, without spitting, without removing shoe. Ein kan beismichush. There's nothing to be concerned at all. We disregard what happens. She read a few psukim, she can go do yibam if she wants. End quote. That's the brisa. Now who's speaking? Who is the author of this brisa? Let's explore. Mani. Ilim Rabbi Lezer. Is this Rabbi Lezer speaking? Okay, let's see if this works. Chotza v'loy rakaka v'loy kara. Chalitza sakshira. First halach in the brisa doesn't work. Chalitza without anything else works? That's kosher. V'amar Rabbi Lezer kacha ya'asa. Kol davashu masa makam. Rabbi Lezer himself holds any masa is critical. Not only shoe removal, but rikika as well. El pshita Rabbi Akiva. Apparently this brisa is a Rabbi Akiva. And what does the brisa say? Uktani, rakaka. If all she did was spit, v'loy chotz, v'loy kara, what happens then? Chalitza psula. The chalitza is psula. Now what does chalitza psula mean? Laman. Pertaining to what? Who does she want to marry? Ilay mila alma. Is the brisa saying, well, she can't marry a stranger? Pshita, of course. Obviously. Why would you think she can go marry a stranger? She hasn't done much chalitza. All she did was spit. Miyabi chalitza? Is this a real chalitza? The shtari la'am which would allow it to marry out? Of course not. Elalav la'ach. Apparently when the brisa says chalitza psul, it means, yes, something happened. She becomes puzzled to the brothers. She can't do yibum. Shmamina, this is a clear-cut right, that even according to Rabbi Akiva, performing rikika alone has somewhat an effect on her. She can't marry the brothers. And then Farshim explain why. We'll see in a minute. Because of Gzera D'Rabbanan. It's not Minat Torah. It's not like the first approach in the Gemara, that it's Minat Torah. Here it's Midrabbanan. Doing Rikika initiates the process. She can't do Yibum anymore. We treat it as though there was a Chalitza done. She can't marry the brothers. She can't do Yibum. Of course she has to do a proper Chalitza. But she can't do Yibum any longer. But we have a kasha now, because Rikika has this effect, but the Brisa says merely reading Psukim Kriya just alone, that doesn't do much. Why? Rabbi Akiva, Maishna Rikika, Maishna Kriya. Explain to me the difference between spitting, which has this effect, and reading, which doesn't have this effect. So reading alone, nothing. But spitting alone, yes. Why? And says the Gemara, Kriya, recital of Psukim, the Isa, Bein Batchila, B'Mesayif. You see, in the process of the Chalitza, they start with Psukim, they end with Psukim, before the Shu, after the Shu. So even if she gets up and reads some psukim leim lichafal, people will not, mistakenly think that she already did chalitza. Leim lichafal. They'll say, okay, these are the psukim that were said before the chalitza. So people won't perceive it as a masa chalitza. Rikika, as opposed to spitting, which takes place when? Only afterwards. The betchil lesa, you don't do it in the beginning. Ulubasayfis, only after shu removal do you do that rikika. Now, if she gets up and spits, the onlooker will say, that's it. We missed the show. This is the end of the chalitza. Michnafalei. People will mistakenly assume that there was a chalitza done. And then when they see her going and doing gibum, they'll say, look at this Isha. She had chalitza, she's going and doing gibum. What's going on here? So with the Rabban, we say that when Isha gets up and does Rikika and Bezdin, even if it's just Rikika, we're concerned about confusion and mistakes, and we no longer allow Yibum to take place. Okay, let's summarize this stuff. Chalitza Balayla. Some say it's okay because chalitza is like a gemar din because it enables the collection of the ksuba. According to Rebbe Lezer, it's like tchilas adin because show's not over yet. It's just the initiation of the process. Tchilas adin has to be b'yayim. What about Ismail? Tanakam says pasul, regel from Mitzvah. Rebbe Lezer says no, it's not mufna on both sides, and there's a way to challenge the gzera shav, and therefore even left foot is okay. What is me'akev by the chalitza? The chalitza itself, removing the shoe, it's certainly a masa which is me'akev, and it's based on the pasuk of kacha ya'asa le'ish. Kacha means absolutely this way, you can't leave anything out. So this is a masa le'ish, it's me'akev. What about kriya? Reading the psukim according to all shittas, it's not me'akev. However, as we learned in the Gemara, a fellow is incapable of speaking, whether a cherish or even an elaim, are possible because you have to be ro'i l'riya, the kriya. What about rikika spitting? According to Rebbe Lezer, it's me'akev. Kacha ya'asa, it's a masa. Rekiva says, no, it's not a masa beish. What if the Isha gets up and does Rekika? That's it, before anything else. Avod Shmuel received word about this thing being puzzle, meaning it makes her puzzle to the brothers. No more Yibam allowed. We have two approaches. Either it's based on Rebbe Lezer, that Rekika is something really crucial and important, and it's based on Rebbe's Shita, that if you have two components, you do one even without the other, it sets the process in motion, and therefore you can't backtrack and go back to Yibam. Whereas according to the second approach in the Gemara, even according to Rebbe Kiva, it would be an issue here. Even Rebbe Kiva says that Rekika typically isn't something crucial, but since Rekika is typically done after the Chalitza, people will see the Rekika done, and they'll see it going marrying the brothers. That's problematic. It creates confusion and misunderstanding, and therefore we say, once you do Rekika, no more Yibam. Hatzlacha Rabba to you, and Psuras Tovus.